Meteorologist Taylor Canoost here with some extended winter weather coverage. Snow just now beginning to move into central Iowa. It's going to make the morning commute pretty dicey out there, so we wanted to break it down. Meteorologist Brandon Lawrence will be joining us here in just a minute for some extended coverage to make sure your morning commute is safe. And it's not just going to be this morning either. We're expecting travel issues throughout the entire day. So why don't we hop to the radar and show you what's going on at this very moment. Cold front is moving through central Iowa as we speak, and ahead of that cold front we have had quite a few rain showers this morning, but that is now transitioning to snow in central Iowa as that front passes on by. Let me pause that radar loop here and draw out where that cold front is located. It is literally passing through Des Moines as we speak. So that is the separator between the rain ahead of the front and some snow showers right behind that. And it's pretty heavy snow right behind that cold front moving through central Iowa as we speak. You see the darker shades of blue on the radar there. Those are beginning to move into the Des Moines metro as well as in Ames. We have had some heavy snow for the past hour or two near Fort Dodge, Carroll, Jefferson, down near Adair and parts of western Iowa. There have been accidents reported near the Atlantic exit near I-80 from earlier this morning as well. And we are just now beginning to see that transition to snow in central Iowa. But let's begin up north. It's pretty much strictly snow at this point. You're getting some banding in this. That's what we were anticipating. So you see the darker shades of blue just to the north of Ogden. That's a heavier band of snow. Another heavier band of snow near Humboldt and Clarion at this moment. And you're getting maybe a little bit of a break currently in Fort Dodge, but some more heavy snow could be moving in shortly. That's how this is going to go. Moments of heavy snow, moments of lighter snow, maybe back and forth through much of this morning. In west central Iowa, same story. Periods of heavy snow, periods of moderate snow ongoing there. I-80 is becoming increasingly difficult to travel on right now. Polk County, much of Story County, we have begun to see that switch to snowfall, and we're seeing a mix of rain and snow in Marshall County as well as Jasper County. We'll see that transition to snow pretty soon in Knoxville as well as Marshalltown and out east toward Grinnell. Farther south and east, it's strictly rain right now in Ottumwa as well as Albia, Sheraton, and down towards Centerville. It might be another hour or two before you start to see that snow pop up in those locations, and we have more snow than rain in southwest Iowa from Creston over to Winterset, Greenfield, and other parts of southwest Iowa. So as I mentioned, joining me this morning is meteorologist Brandon Lawrence. And Brandon, thanks for waking up early with us. Why don't we toss it over to you to get a look at road conditions at the moment.
Yeah, we are having quite a bit of an issue on the roads this morning, Taylor. It's good to be with everybody this morning as we continue to track not just what's happening on the radar, but also what's happening on the roadways. We've got rough conditions across western Iowa this morning. Where you see highlighted in pink, that is where we have totally snow-covered roadways at this point. That extends down from Mason City through Fort Dodge, all the way down through western and southwestern Iowa. All of the blue, that represents partially snow-covered roadways, but clearly things are not too good out in western Iowa. They're still okay in the metro area, but I expect that over the next several hours, those conditions will start to deteriorate. In fact, take a look at the difference between Dallas County and Polk County right now. So most of the roads reported as seasonal in Polk County. Meanwhile, they're totally snow-covered there in Dallas and Boone counties. So you clearly see what's heading our way with that snow, and we expect it to cause issues this morning as it's right at morning commute time. Here's a couple of different views. Right now, I-80 or I-35 rather at Ashworth Road. We've got this in West Des Moines. Right now, don't see any issues on the road itself, but keep in mind we've already had some rain and a little bit of a wintry mix this morning that could also cause issues out there. Here's another view in the metro, I-35 at Oralabor Road in Ankeny. So the road clear at this point too, but as that snow continues to move in our direction, we will see these road conditions continue to worsen over the next several hours. So Taylor, you've been keeping an eye on that, and of course we've been talking about what's happening right now, but let's talk about what's going to happen as we go through the next several hours. So this morning, snow is clearly likely. It'll be heavy at times, and then we will have gusts up to 45 miles per hour all through the afternoon. So the wind is the other component of this. We could have whiteout conditions at times as well. And even tonight, there may be a little bit of an improvement, but we will still be breezy. Taylor, it's not going to improve just because the snow stops falling. I think that's sometimes where people see, you know, we have the blizzard warning in effect and they think it's going to snow all day. It's not really all about the snow itself this time, but it's a lot about the wind even after that snow is done.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much snow you get to get a blizzard. You could get half an inch of snow, you can get a foot of snow. Blizzard conditions are determined by how long you have wind gusts over 35 miles per hour and visibility less than a quarter mile. It has to be for at least 3 hours that you have those type of conditions. It has nothing to do with how much snow you end up with when it's said and done. And that's one key thing we want to point out to folks is even when the snow is done, as Brandon mentioned later on this afternoon, we could have what we call ground blizzard conditions. The snow that's already on the ground could get kicked back up and could reduce visibility on roads. That is most likely to occur in north central Iowa later on this afternoon. Why don't we take Max to full screen and we'll go through our FutureCast and just take a look at what we're expecting throughout the day today. Again, we have rain right now in southeast Iowa. It's beautiful in southeast Iowa for this time of the year with temperatures in the upper 30s, but that is going to change rapidly throughout the morning as this cold front pushes on through. Snow is going to be likely for basically our entire viewing area at 9 o'clock this morning, and then we'll see it gradually come to an end from the west to the east late this morning into the early afternoon. For Des Moines, we might be done with the snow by the noon hour today. Might last a little bit longer farther east in Grinnell, but most of us in central Iowa should be wrapped up with the snow by 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. Here's what one model is suggesting we'll get for additional snow on top of what has already fallen. Generally speaking, around 1 to 3 inches in Des Moines and Ames. Could be slightly higher amounts farther to the north and northeast. Most of the models have kind of had a bullseye for the heaviest snow in northeast Iowa around Dubuque and Cedar Rapids. So could be the worst of the conditions out there, but the strongest of the wind will be in north central Iowa where the best chance for blowing snow will occur at that point. Here's just a different view of what we could expect for the snow totals. Maybe not anything significant in southwest Iowa, but still some blowing snow is possible there. But the worst of the driving conditions probably going to be in north central Iowa. Brandon, again, due to the potential strong winds, which are already popping up in western Iowa.
Yeah, those wind gusts already getting strong out there, and we are seeing that they're upwards of 35, near 40 miles per hour in Carroll, 38 in Creston, 39 there in Carroll, coming in at 22 in Fort Dodge and 31 in Ames. And take a look at how quickly those wind gusts drop off. So the far eastern half of the state, not actually seeing those gusts yet. That's on the leading edge of that front that'll be moving in as well. So we'll be watching for those gusts to really ramp up over the next several hours, and they're not going to stop through the day. So take a look at what happens on FutureCast. We see these strong wind gusts all through the afternoon. Even at noon, we're up to 40 miles per hour in Ottumwa, 41 miles per hour in Grinnell. Most of the area between 35 and 45 miles per hour. We could see isolated gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And it will stay blustery all through the evening tonight as well. That will create those blowing snow, ground blizzard conditions. And then finally, around 10, 11 o'clock tonight is when I expect that we will start to see at least a little bit of a break in those winds. That is really the primary reason that we've got this blizzard warning in effect for north central Iowa and areas just northeast of the Des Moines metro. Everybody gets a little bit caught up in blizzard terminology and they think that it means a ton of snow. In this case, it really isn't about the actual amount of snow that falls, but it's really about the winds and how long we see those wind gusts for. Even with just a little bit of snow and a lot of wind, we can see those deteriorating conditions. So if you're in Fort Dodge, Webster City, Iowa Falls, Ames, Marshalltown, down to Newton and Grinnell, you are under the blizzard warning. We have a winter weather advisory for the rest of us in central and southern Iowa, and then extreme eastern Iowa, including Cedar Rapids and over towards the Quad Cities, under a winter storm warning. So we've got a lot going on today. The roads, of course, still a mess. And Taylor, we may not be done just yet. There could be more snow on the way in the next couple of days.
Yeah, recent model trends the past couple of days have been pointing to an increasingly decent chance of snowfall again this weekend. And I'll show you on the graphics here real quick what we could expect. They're actually going to come in several different waves. It won't be all at once. The first wave could roll through during the day on Saturday. That is going to be most likely in southern Iowa. And then second wave could roll through during the day on Sunday. That might be a little bit more widespread and likely for central Iowa. The third wave on Monday, not as confident that will happen, but it is possible we could get some light snow. If I had to guess, I would lean towards Sunday maybe being the heaviest snowmaker. It's not going to be probably anything extreme, but there is potential for a few spots to get several inches of snow come this Sunday. But our focus again is on today. Let's toss it over to Elias Johnson for more what's going on outside this morning.
Yeah, so road conditions not great at all. Nice to report, though, we haven't seen very many traffic accidents, at least the DOT not reporting. Doesn't mean we're not seeing some issues on side streets, but so far it appears that people are listening as far as travel goes, and we hope that continues today as things aren't going to get better. With more on what we're seeing right now here in the metro, Khalil Maycock, you've been out there since 5 o'clock this morning. You said there was some drizzle coming down a little earlier. What are you seeing right now here, specifically in downtown Des Moines?
Yeah, good morning, Elias. That drizzle has turned to a light snow, and if I step out of the way, you will be able to see that. If we go towards the street, you won't see many cars out there, and actually right now there isn't on the street. But if you look there, the streets are kind of shiny. That's because that rain did turn into snow. So if you are driving in the downtown area, you might want to take it a bit easier just because it could be a bit slippery, which, as Taylor noted earlier, could be dangerous while driving. But as I said earlier, there's not too many cars driving downtown, but if you are headed out this morning, just make sure to be safe because it is actually snowing, started to snow in this part of the area. So back to you in the studio.
Khalil, thank you very much. Live downtown over on the east side of downtown. And we'll continue to monitor that for you throughout the morning. Let's head back over to Taylor with more on what we're seeing right now. As we said, Taylor, not a lot of accidents. That's the good news that we can report this morning, albeit the weather's bad.
Sure, yeah, that's great to hear for the morning drive. I know this is the time a lot of folks are heading out to work this morning. We have our chief photographer, Don Smith, out there this morning. He is on I-80 and I believe in Dallas County at the moment. And as you can see, there is at least some snow on the interstate roads right now as we speak, as the snow just began there about 20 to 30 minutes ago. So as I've preached all morning long, it's not going to take long for snow to start accumulating on the roads. Pretty heavy snow is moving into central Iowa as we speak. So I think maybe by 9 o'clock we could have at least an inch on the ground in Des Moines, maybe upwards of 2 inches in parts of central Iowa, and we'll continue to have a snow threat as we head into the late morning hours. If we take Max 2, we can show our Sky Tracker 5 view of downtown Des Moines as the snow is underway in the Des Moines Metro, right on cue here for the morning drive. And it looks like it could be a big mess for morning travel, unfortunately. It already is looking pretty rough in western Iowa. Brandon, a lot of hazards to consider today, and as we've mentioned, the blizzard conditions is probably our top concern, but even right now, even though the wind has not necessarily made it to Des Moines just yet, we could be looking at some difficult travel conditions over at least the next couple of hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and this hits at the worst possible time. I mean, there's never really a great time to have blizzard-like conditions and near whiteout conditions, but the worst of it, of course, coming right here as we get ready for a Thursday morning commute. So we've got snow moving into central Iowa right now. Here's the latest on the radar, and the heaviest of the snow is west of I-35 and realistically mostly north of I-80. There's a couple of heavier bands south of the interstate, but for the most part it's north of I-80 and west of I-35. So Taylor's giving us a look at the Doppler radar, and anywhere you see this darker blue color, that's where the heavier bands of snow are moving through. So that's from Greenfield back to Winterset, up through Guthrie Center, Dallas County, and now moving into the western sections of Polk County. So not the entire metro seeing this just yet. And then watch how quickly that drop-off is to our east, where it's still rain in places like Marshalltown, Newton, and yes, there's a little bit of a blob there. That's where we're starting to get that changeover. Sometimes the radar has a harder time picking up on exactly what that looks like. But we've got a lot of rain moving through, at least light rainfall in the eastern sections of our area, from Ottumwa back up to Oskaloosa, down through Albia, Sheraton, and over to Corydon and Centerville as well. Some of the heavier bursts of rain down near Lamoni and the Iowa-Missouri state line. But everybody's going to see that changeover here soon. As you saw there in western Iowa, the road conditions will quickly deteriorate. And then the other issue, Taylor, that we continue to harp on, and I think because arguably it's almost more severe than the snow that's actually falling, is the wind and what that will do to the snow. It creates that blowing snow and really rough visibility.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we have blizzard warnings that have been issued for north central Iowa, an area that is notorious for seeing blizzard conditions in setups like this. Another blizzard warning that is in effect now until 6 o'clock on Friday morning. So even though the snow is going to end for a lot of us by noon today, the effects of potential blowing snow will last another 12, 18 hours after the snow is done due to potential ground blizzard conditions. And I want to reiterate that it's going to be rural roads in especially areas north of I-80 where it's most likely that we get that drifting, that we get possible impassable roads. That's some phrasing the National Weather Service used on their forecast discussion yesterday afternoon, discussing the possible threats heading our way with this system. So a lot to consider. Here's just some of the key takeaways for what we're expecting in central Iowa over the next few days. Generally speaking, around 1 to 4 inches of snow, most of which will fall this morning, but the blowing snow is the bigger concern. One other thing we haven't talked about yet is temperatures will actually be falling throughout the day today. It was rather nice when I came into work early this morning with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, but behind the cold front, a rush of cool air will be heading our way rather shortly. In fact, here is our 12-hour outlook for Des Moines. Temperatures falling to the 20s by late this morning. We will spend the entire afternoon in the 20s. Temperatures falling throughout the day today. Even if we get a little sun later this afternoon, it is not going to be pretty outside. Wind chills could be not pleasant at all by this afternoon. By the afternoon, we could see single-digit wind chills in much of central Iowa. Those type of wind chills will stick around this evening. Sub-zero wind chills are likely at least for northern Iowa tomorrow morning. When you wake up and head out the door tomorrow morning, it might feel like the negative teens in Mason City, Waterloo, Decorah, Dubuque. Probably not quite that bad in central or southern Iowa, but still, this is the first sign of the extreme cold air that will be heading our way this weekend through much of next week. And even during the day on Friday, it looks like we will be on the chillier side of things as the first wave of the polar vortex heads our way this weekend. Brandon, do you want to discuss what exactly that is? We hear it in the news all the time, and it gets, misused sometimes, but maybe we can talk a little bit about what's coming our way.
Sure. Yeah. So the polar vortex is a very real thing. The term just gets overused sometimes, and it gets a little bit scarier than it realistically is. The polar vortex is this big area of cold air that circles around the North Pole, the Arctic Circle, and occasionally what happens is the jet stream causes little dips in this polar vortex. And what does that mean? Well, it brings some of that really Arctic air, that cold air, down into the lower 48. Now, a lot of times what happens is this really brings us the cold air in the middle part of the country, and then it stops short of the southern part of the country, which may happen over the next several days. But boy, it is going to get cold heading into the weekend. Take a look at these temperatures, and it's not really just the weekend. It's through much of next week, too. That high of 35 is almost a bit misleading today because that's realistically where we are right now. And then as Taylor showed you, it falls all throughout the day. So when you head to work, it may not feel as bad, but when you come home later today, the wind chill, you're going to need multiple layers, hats, gloves, scarves, all the stuff this afternoon. 20 degrees, that'll be the high tomorrow. Saturday, we fall to a high of 9 degrees, and then it actually goes down a little bit more. On Sunday, we look for a high of 4 degrees. Same thing on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 and 9 degrees respectively. So you know what I see here is that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row of single-digit high temperatures. So it's not even that, obviously we're tracking the snow, the wind, Taylor, this morning, but that really cold blast of Arctic air is going to be here for a while.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. Des Moines has not fallen below zero this entire winter.
Yeah.
We are forecasting sub-zero lows from Saturday night all the way to next Friday night. 7 consecutive nights of sub-zero lows.
Was I naive to think that we would get through winter and not see this type of thing?
I was hoping, but
here we are.
Yeah, it's slapping us in the face in the big way.
Yeah.
All right, before we let everyone go for the morning, I want to take one final look at road conditions now that we're starting to get some daylight. Thanks again to our chief photographer, Don Schmidt, for braving the road conditions this morning. This is I-80 and roads, at least on the interstate, becoming partially covered. The less traveled the road is, the more quickly it will become covered in snowfall. And let's take one final look at our road conditions map before we let you all go this morning. Pink is a sign of completely covered roads. We have that right now from Mason City down to Fort Dodge, Jefferson, parts of Boone County, parts of Dallas County, as well as Guthrie County, and a section of southwest Iowa as well. Zooming into central Iowa, we are beginning to see roads become at least partially covered on the west side of the Des Moines Metro. Ames, you're in okay shape with this second, but I would imagine we'll see some blue and pink popping up in Story County here before too much longer. So again, folks, please be safe. If you can work from home today, I would suggest it, especially for you folks in northern Iowa, where the blizzard conditions could impact you folks more so than the southern half of Iowa. But everyone is going to get snow this morning, which means impacts to your travel throughout the morning hours. All right, again, thank you, meteorologist Brandon Lawrence, for joining us this morning, and thank you all for tuning in to our extended winter weather coverage. We will have updates throughout the day today on weareiowa.com. Tune in at Local 5 News midday at 11 for more on Local 5.